Hello, budgeters. On Saturday, August 8th, President Trump signed 4 executive actions. We're going to talk about one of them today. It affects the unemployment benefits, which we were getting previously until July 31st. The amount had previously been $600. Congress has been a little divided about the amount of money that should be awarded for the unemployment extended benefits. It had passed the House previously, and the amount was still the $600. And right now it's been stalled in the Senate. Republicans are leaning towards a $200 a week extended benefit, while Democrats are still pushing for the $600. And on Saturday, August 8th, President Trump had signed the executive action to have a $400 extended benefits per week. His hope is that it's going to be 75% from the federal government and 25% coming from the states. The money would be coming from the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund and unallocated funds from the previous CARES Act, which had passed back in March when we originally got the first stimulus checks, assuming you were lucky enough to get one. The money would just left over from things that were not used within the CARES Act, such as the Main Street Lending Fund. The states, however, are trying to figure out where they're supposed to come up with the extra 25%. So if you're supposed to get a $400 a week extended benefit and the federal government is allocating that we're going to get $300 from the federal government and the states don't have the extra 25% because they're already tapped out enough, are we actually going to get the $400? Would we get $300? Is there going to be some kind of like a state relief fund to help states that prove that they can't afford this? So that's a little unclear at this point. They're still working on some additional verbiage. It's kind of gone to like lawyers at this point. The reactions have been a little bit mixed. So previously, Senator Chuck Schumer had called for to be met in the middle. Basically, Republicans want $200 and Democrats want $600. And even though he was a Democrat, he had just called to meet in the middle. And that's kind of what President Trump did with the $400. It's in the middle of the $200 and the $600 amount. Since then, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer have come out and they've made statements. So let's get into some articles here. We'll talk about some stuff. So this is an article from CNN, and this is about the executive order which President Trump signed into action. So when you go down here specifically, this is the point. These will be linked in the description so you can read them for yourself. So this is where he gets into the section and he's talking about how 25% of that $400 benefit would be required from the states. And it goes into specifics about where they're going to come from. It's $44 billion, is from the disaster relief from FEMA. So that's kind of what he's talking about right now. And then this is the article. Senator Mitch McConnell has come out and he was in favor of this action by the president. So he has a statement which he's put out, and he was explaining how he's really glad that the president is providing for the average Americans, while he feels that the Democrats are kind of leaving the average Americans in the dust and overlooked. This is the exact memorandum which is being put out. So you can go through and you can read the text and you can see what you think is going to happen. It explains a little bit more about where the money would come from. At this point, I'm not entirely sure that it's going to go through because some people are very unhappy with this. Now, if you take to Twitter, you see Nancy Pelosi put out a statement with her and Senator Schumer. And if you go to Twitter and you look for Nancy Pelosi, you'll find their joint statement here, which brings you over to this. This is on speaker.gov. Their joint statement, basically Nancy Pelosi is very unhappy. Obviously, she had been previously calling for a $600 a week unemployment extended boost, And even though this is higher than the amount that the Republicans were advocating, it's still not what she's looking for. So the executive action as it stands now would be in effect until December 27th, 2020. So that would get us to just about the beginning of the year. And it would give everybody who's currently on unemployment an extra $400 a week as it stands now. It could go back to 300, it could change. There has also been talk about if there will be legal action sought against the president because he is kind of circumventing Congress. He's using funds that they've previously approved and allocated for disaster relief, and he's using those funds in another way. Some people are saying it's a breach of power. So there could be some more lawsuits to follow up. This coming week is going to be a very interesting one as we're going to hopefully continue discussions within the Senate. Maybe then this is going to spur them on to come up to some kind of an agreement where they had previously been stalling out and no agreements had previously been reached. They seemed to agree on most of the other things and come to some form of consensus, except for the unemployment, which is why that's what we're addressing here today, because the unemployment extended boost is what it seemed to be holding everybody up on. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting week.